Hey folks, it's June 5th. My name's James. I'm the president of the Edmonton Local of the Canadian Union of Postal Workers. And it's a beautiful day out here. It was hailing a little earlier and quite stormy, but it appears to have mostly cleared up. Still got the old hat and the jacket just in case of more rain. Just be prepared. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is grievances. Specifically a national policy grievance and a regional policy grievance. I think I'll start with the regional policy grievance. It's a little easier to digest and doesn't directly involve the members, but the outcome might. So the regional policy grievance is being filed on by the regional grievance officer on behalf of the members of the Prairie region. This is the first one that I've been aware of in my years at Canada Post, and it has to do with Article 1430, which is about night shift work. So specifically what 1430 says is, it says, while recognizing that, as much as possible, the work is normally performed during the day and the evening and night work should be minimized, the corporation agrees to study the organization of its operations during the lifetime of this agreement in order to review evening and night work, taking into account service levels, costs, and other relevant factors. This agreement has gone on longer than it was intended to, because this is basically the same agreement we had in 2018. It was extended in 22 until 24. Here we are in 26. So this grievance really couldn't take place until now, because during the lifetime of this agreement, they should have done this study. Well, it's been 8 years, and I don't think they've done the study. We've asked for it, and they have not been able to provide it. But of course, they're resisting, so they want us to provide as much information as possible. So today I gathered up all the minutes of the consultations that I have from the last 6 or 8 years, any correspondence I could find, schedules for the plant, because most of this is plant work stuff, and sent that off to our regional office. So I mean, the reason why they haven't done their study is probably because they're going to find the same things that were always found in all of these studies, is that night shift work causes real problems. Greater rates of cancer, shorter lifespans, endocrine problems, problems with diabetes, all sorts of different things. And quite honestly, I don't think their service levels improve, especially now that they've gone to the super slow delivery system, SSD, where everything's being delayed. So why does it matter if something comes in at 9 o'clock at night, gets delivered at 6 a.m., or why can't they deliver it later? Like, they could run a skeleton crew overnight to make sure that any priority items get delivered, but they could also stack it all up for the day, maximize the use of their equipment and their space during the day, and then, you know, run maintenance at night or evenings or whatever they need to do on all that equipment. But they don't see it that way. Anyway, I hope this grievance is successful, but only time will tell. So the national policy grievance is an interesting one. So, a little over a year ago, Canada Post Management came to the union and said they wanted to implement a new pickup service for their customers, home delivery. And the union and the corporation did what they're supposed to do, and they tried to negotiate a value for how that's going to work into the LCRMS and how it's going to work for RSMCs. As far as I understand, there was no consensus was reached. So the corporation did what they should do, and they filed a grievance, which is just to encourage the process. So basically we're taking it to an arbitrator to have an arbitrator make a decision on that process. Since that time, the arbitration is ongoing. The corporation's decided to proceed anyway without the resolution from the grievance, which has resulted in us filing our national policy grievance, which is about the fact that they're basically going to have us do it without compensation, and that they're doing it without following the grievance process. I mean, could you imagine if the company gave you a suspension and you were just like, nah, I'll wait for the grievance to be resolved before I take that suspension, thanks. It's a little bit weird, right? So that's the power imbalance. Whether you like it or not, the employer has more power to do things. We can send nasty emails all we like, and they can throw them in the trash. We can demand things, and they can refuse. So here we are. Now, we're going to work a little bit on the process of what we're supposed to do until then. I have actually asked for consultation with local management, although we're not sure if they're going to participate because they have a grievance in. So any discussion would be without precedent or prejudice in regards to either of those grievances. But quite honestly, I just want to know what's happening, because there was a document circulated to our members about this process. It answers a number of questions, but not particularly clearly. And I'm hearing rumor, just rumor though, that RSMCs are going to get it as a PCI value, but it will not affect their PCI values until the next year. But that's just rumor. So do you grieve it or don't you? So I'm hoping that we'll have some discussions on that in the future. I can't guarantee that they will be, because they may not want to participate in that. I'm hoping that they will, even if they come to the table and say we can't talk about X, Y, and Z, if only so that I just know what's going on, and so that you'll be better informed, so that we'll know what is actually expected of us and how to do it. The general gist that I got from the paperwork that was provided to me by members, because management doesn't send us anything, is that the customer will be expected to have posted or notified the corporation that they have a pickup prior to 7 a.m. on any given day. And then those pickups will be listed on your PDT. And that you will be allowed to do the pickup anytime between 9 and 5. So the idea being that if it's on your line of travel, you would just do the pickup as you go about your day. For single dwelling homes, they can leave them at the front door as like being safe dropped, and you can pick them up from there. But the expectation will be that if there's nothing there, you would have to ring the doorbell and the customer would give you the items. For anything other than a single family home, like an apartment building or something of the sort, you would have to obviously ring the doorbell and or the panel and get them to come down for the parcel. RSMCs, it says that FSAs that involve the 0.5 kilometer delivery are not a part of this. Rural routes are not part of it. There was something else. Yeah, farms and businesses out in the country are not included in this process. And foot routes, but we don't have any foot routes in the city of Edmonton. I don't know how many there are left. So those are all excluded. There may or may not be something else. Hopefully I'll have more information for you in the near future. But anyway, keep your chin up. Have a great day.